I'm Gerald Bentley. This is Wrestling with Sales, and I am joined by one of the legacies of professional wrestling, Leland Race from the World League Wrestling right here in Missouri. Leland, thanks a lot for joining us here.
Hey, thank you for having me, my friend. I appreciate the opportunity, and my apologies for the background because I have 3 jobs, and so there's something taking place all the time, and this is one of my many work areas.
Now you're keeping busy, and you guys are running.
That's an understatement.
You got the academy out there, the Harley Race Wrestling Academy. You
Yes,
have
sir.
World League Wrestling. I mean, you're always keeping busy. I'm sure for people that are just kind of getting into independent wrestling here, because there's been a big resurgence. Maybe if you've watched the show Heels, sometimes Heels is a little over dramatic, the Stephen Amell show, but there's definitely some of it that resonates. The amount of work that goes in to put it on a show, it's really a ton of time you have to put in. And you guys just finished up. You had your Summer Sizzler event here just this past week.
Yes, sir.
Everything go well with the Summer Sizzler? I mean, that's a big event to put on. You guys were on TV. You packed the arena. How did it go?
Overall, it was like you just said. It was packed. We sold out. I didn't expect it because typically August is hit or miss. It's at the end of the summertime, meaning your family vacations. You have school getting ready to start back up, if not already starting back
Sure.
up. And there's a couple of there's a local car show that draws thousands of people from all over the county, this side of the state, and so there's a lot of different variables that can make it a miss. But luckily, our team here struck out, hit a home run, knocked it out of the park, and every one of the guys and girls too, for that matter, just did a fantastic job, and I couldn't say a bad word about them.
Yeah, there's really a lot of terrific wrestling talent that's coming up here in the central part of the country. I'm in Kansas City, Missouri. We've worked with Central States Wrestling. One of the guys that is on the WLW roster, second to none, Kenny Alfonso.
Mm-hmm.
Just had a chance to talk to him about the path that he's taking. And, WLW is a big stepping stone. You guys pack the arena, like you said, in beautiful Troy, Missouri, just a little bit away from where I'm recording this in Kansas City. And you have a TV presence, national TV presence.
Yes,
where
sir.
can people find WLW Wrestling?
Well, we try to keep up with as much of the social media world as we can, but there's so many platforms, or however you want to word it. There's so many of those, it's hard to keep up. The main 2 to 3 that we stick to is, of course, Facebook, World League Wrestling, there, and then Twitter is kind of Twitter's kind of hit. If we can do it, because it's you're limited with the amount of words, and if it's anything like me,
sure,
long-winded. So I don't really like to be limited to what the amount of characters or whatever that I have to put on there. So we do our best to hit those 2, plus Instagram, YouTube. We're uploading our stuff on there. We just put a full event, the last one, the June event, which was Gold Rush. We put the full thing. Our commentary team got together, called the whole event from start to finish. And overall, I think the product was awesome, and it was something different too, to do something like that.
Yeah, and it's a challenge, right? Because you don't have I don't know what you want to say, the machine, the architecture, if you will, of
Correct,
a WWE, an AEW, a New Japan, where there's a person to do every element of the job. Like you said, you're doing 3 jobs. A lot of things, they end up falling on you, and the wrestlers are really an important part of promoting the show, because
Absolutely.
They have to get their draw. They have to reach their social media community and get them to come in. It's just not as easy as showing up.
No, it's not. And but I have learned through many mess ups that not how to do it right, but how to do it better, because I'm never ever going to do it right. From one day to the next, from one event to the next, things will change, circumstances will change, variables will change. Weather could be a thing, other local events taking place, or statewide or anything like that. Luckily, I have somewhat figured out how to round up all of the talent up to in a very helpful way to get them to help us out, and in turn we help them out. And here over the past, I would say 5 to 6 years, I think our reputation has grown in a good way. The amount of talent and history here, man, this 24 years. This November will be 24 years that World League Wrestling has been in operation, and obviously the faces have changed, and ownership has changed, and things of that nature. Yeah, but that, to an extent, comes along with the territory. But overall, I can definitely say that where World League Wrestling is at now is a great thing. And it's at a great place, and everybody works hard. Of course, you have the stragglers that, some of the new kids that, they had to be taught how to work, because, this generation of young people just in life, they don't have the absolute best work ethic. And that's one thing that doesn't sit well with me. And that's why our, academy is great, because there's a lot of kids that come in, and when they learn how to do things the right way, they apply themselves. And when I tell them almost daily, just as a reminder, not to harp on them, but just as a reminder, that everything that we teach at the academy, you can apply to life. And that's just how it is. You have to look outside of the box, but you're not going to go body slam somebody at McDonald's because they got your burger wrong or whatever.
No, if somebody says they don't want to buy the car, you can't really go ahead
and pull them aside and
give them a paradigm shift.
For sure. But that said, it's one of those things where reading in between the lines is like a super important thing. I could definitely say within wrestling, because this is my world that I'm living in.
Sure.
But learning how to do that and do it effectively is, it gets you far in life. And being able to teach these kids the sport of professional wrestling is fantastic. It's something that I'm lucky to be a part of on a day-to-day basis, and being able to teach them how to apply said things in life it just brings it to a whole nother level. It's being able to see the kids here grow and mature, that's what it's all about.
That's a great point, and it definitely is something that I think runs through with a lot of the people that I've talked to. Hey, let's just get a quick word in from our sponsor, Montway Auto Transport. As a dealer, hey, we got to get the bills paid, right? Sure. As a dealer, you spend a lot of time buying cars at auction. If you're using Edge Pipeline to manage your purchases, then this is big news. Montway Auto Transport has partnered with Auction Edge to add a transportation option to Edge Pipeline. Now dealers can manage their auction buys and book transportation with just one click right in the Edge Pipeline platform. Just that easy. 1, 2, 3, but you only need one. As a nationwide leader in auto transport, Montway understands a dealer's need for speed and efficiency and can arrange single or multi-vehicle moves from the auction to any lot in the country. With Montway's technology, dealers can gain full transit visibility and tracking after an order has been booked, making it much easier to manage inventory. Buy, ship, and track all in Edge Pipeline. Go to www.montway.com/WS to learn more. And, Leland, I wanted to ask you, because I think it's a really interesting story, because there's a lot of second generation, even third generation wrestlers. If you're watching AEW, WWE right now, you see the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes. You see Andrade El Idolo. Well, you had one of the biggest challenges, I think, of a second generation wrestler coming in with the king of pro wrestling, and any wrestling show you go to in this area, King Harley Race, Handsome Harley Race, your former NWA heavyweight champion of the world, comes up because he had such an impact. And when you started training, you moved across the country and trained under a different name. Was that to just make sure that you did it 100% on your own without
long and
feeling
short,
like
yeah,
legacy carried you?
That was part of it, but it was also to show everybody, there was no favoritism. He actually encouraged me not to get involved in wrestling. But this is the only thing that I've truly, really wanted to do since I've been 11 years old. 10 or 11, I'll say 10 and a half. But, and sorry for my dogs, but
no, he's fine.
And everybody's just, they always come around whenever I'm doing stuff like this. That said, I was sent to Charlotte, North Carolina. That was March of 2003. I had to think back. So, and I trained under a guy named George South, who
big trainer.
Yeah, well, he's a great trainer. He more importantly than that, he's a great person. He put me through the ringer and in the best way possible. I tell the guys here that it's a different day and age, because where I trained at, how I broke in, was a building where the ceilings probably weren't any bigger than where I'm at right now, my house. It was a low boy ring, meaning the feet were cut off, and you could stand in the ring. It was a 16 by 16 ring. Stand and touch the ceiling. So you learned how to wrestle, and the fundamentals of it. And we were in there for 3 to 5 days a week. It just depended on where and when George had stuff taking place on the weekends. He did ring rentals. He had wrestling events. He still has both, and his wrestling academy too. But we would go in there 3 to 5 days a week, and it was 6 hours a day. And there was no air conditioning. There was no, water breaks. You go in there and you did what he said. And that's just how he did it. And that is something that I pride myself on. I don't know if a lot of people today could do that religiously, but I'm super happy with that method of training. It made me to the wrestler that I am today, and the person too, for that matter.
Well, and that kind of rings true too, because I imagine that was similar to the training your dad went through. I've heard
long and short
Ric Flair talk about Vern Gagne's training program and how intense it was, and that people hardly anybody made it through it. And at the end, if you made it through it, you were set.
Sure. Yeah. The training that my dad went through, he did it with the two guys. They were the Zbyszko brothers, in the Iowa area, if I can recall properly. Not Larry Zbyszko. It was the two brothers. I can never get their names right, so I won't attempt to butcher their names out of respect for them. But they had a farm, and basically how it worked was that he worked on the farm during the day, and then during the evening and afternoon, evening, and nighttime, they would train him in pro wrestling. So it was kind of a trade-off, and vastly different, even compared to when I broke in. The rings were stiffer. You're already wore out, because working on a farm isn't easy work, no matter what day and age. So, that it's again, it kind of goes back when I said to made me the person that I am. The way he broke in only elevated the person that he was, because he's, a different type of person. He broke the mold. I always told him, in a good way. Did everything he do please everybody? No, but you're not going to be able to please everybody. It's just how life works, right? But he wouldn't have the reputation that he still has to this day, and he's been gone with us from us now for 4 years, and his reputation is still second to none. There's still not a person that would go about and badmouth Harley Race at all. he'd probably come back from the dead and smack him around a little bit.
Well, I know I talked to Ross and Marshall Von Erich,
Yes.
and part of their training at the behest of their father, Kevin Von Erich, was with your dad up there in Troy, Missouri.
Yeah, they actually trained in Eldon.
Eldon, that's right.
Yeah. We helped break them in. They initially got started with us first, and then went to Pro Wrestling Noah, and then back. It was kind of back and forth, from Japan to Eldon, and that was in a building where we also had no AC. And in Eldon, it was hot. It's still hot now, but there were days where I literally remember seeing the thermometers on the bank outside. It was like 120 degrees. So you lost a lot of unnecessary body weight in days like that. And Ross and Marshall, super good people. Same with their dad, Kevin, and their entire family too. We had the opportunity to meet them. Myself and another guy by the name of Brian Breaker had their first matches, and that I try to keep all that stuff in my head because it just makes me appreciate everything that has taken place, and again helped me mold the person that I am today.
Well, and I think there's definitely a commonality, right, between you and the Von Erichs. So I mean,
sure. Well,
not many people can relate to your life's experiences like they could.
Well, the Harley Race Wrestling Academy, and specifically the old man, did not. He had a reputation for training people. Like, in addition to his outstanding reputation as a professional wrestler, same with a human being, he also had a fantastic reputation of training up and coming wrestlers, whether it be in the ring, out of the ring, or in between. A lot of second generation wrestlers came through the Harley Race Wrestling Academy. You had Reed Flair, Richie Steamboat, Joe Hennig, Ted DiBiase, Mike DiBiase, Ted DiBiase Jr., Mike DiBiase, Amy Hennig. There was just a slew of them that have came through here. So and of course, obviously Ross and Marshall. So when you look at the success of the wrestler Harley Race, sometimes good wrestlers, I'm speaking in this field, but good wrestlers, great wrestlers don't always make great teachers. It just isn't in the cards sometimes, right? But the Harley Race Wrestling Academy and the wrestler Harley Race, it flowed because of how good he was in both areas. He was just that type of person. And never mind what he did outside of the ring and outside of pro wrestling to help the guys that train here. And those effects are still being felt today.
And just to get back to today, I'm going to say this was a little while ago, you and Camaro Jackson, the Quad Father, fighting it out in a strap match. But right now, you got a couple of straps that you're wearing as the WLW Tag Team Champions. So that's got to be feeling good to carry the belts for one of the belts for your company.
Absolutely. It's back in the picture you just put up was in February of this year. Yes, sir. That one. And it was, and I'm sorry, my eyes, apparently there's allergies going on, but that was a match of respect. And to my knowledge, I'm sure there's been others, but I'm just going to say it. It's the second ever, the first one being Kevin Sullivan and Brian Pillman, one of their infamous matches. But now myself and Camaro is just a good human being. I like to surround myself with good people. Who wouldn't, right? But Camaro is a good person. He loves the sport. He loves the industry. He loves the business. And, him and I seem to click. We just had a great match this past Saturday against two young kids, the O'Neill brothers. And, again, it clicked. So we're happy with how things are going. And as far as I'm concerned, we're going to keep going that direction.
what's the next big event coming up for WLW?
Yes, sir. September the 9th at the Harley Race Wrestling Arena in Troy. It's called Stars and Stripes 2. It's a wrestling event. We're going to be figuring it out today, actually, like the finalized product of it. But
Okay.
where, you know, it's basically in commemoration of 9/11. We have done it for the past 3 years. And we're going to keep doing it too. You know, I like tradition. I like doing those types of things, honoring the people that have given their lives in their 9/11 case.
Sure.
They gave our lives unwillingly, might I add, but to honor those people who did lose their lives. I think that was a better way of saying it, so my apologies. But to honor the people that lost their lives on 9/11, we always hold this event in September. And so people that are in the military or were affected by 9/11, you know, family members, et cetera, they get to get in free to the event. So
that's great.
Thank you. That's what we're doing. And again, we're going to keep it going like that for every September as long as I'm breathing.
And if I'm correct, you guys do a show at Fort Leonard Wood too, right?
Yes. Funny enough, I actually just got an email from they call it it's the entertainment board there from the gentleman there who wants to bring us back next year. We this past February 25th, there was the largest crowd that WLW has had in like 10 years. Over close to 1,200 people, if not over. I can't remember exactly. I don't have the paperwork here in front of me, but that was awesome. I told that, like, the kids that wrestled here, minus Matt Seidel, and he's not a kid, obviously, but we had him in. We had Bob Orton in for that event too. For the rest of the World League Wrestling roster that came to that event, they had never wrestled in front of a crowd that large. Yes, 600-700 people. That a lot of them have wrestled in numbers of that magnitude, but when you approach or cross that 1,000 mark, that's a different thing. And those military members, bless their heart, man, they went in there and just made it worthwhile, because the second they got in, they were loud and they were rowdy, and to be a part of something like that was awesome. And I didn't tell the guys, like, I knew going into it that afternoon what our approximate ticket sales were, and at that it was over 1,000 at that point. And so I didn't tell them because I wanted them to have a good surprise, a good feeling inside, you know. And we had a couple of wrestlers that were either had been through there training wise or worked there. We had Kenny Alfonso, former. I know he's a former military. I cannot remember the branch, so my apologies, Kenny, in advance. But we got him and Austin Mulatala. They actually had a great matchup between the two. Austin is currently stationed and working at Fort Leonard Wood, and that was just an awesome day. And it was so loud. I remember I could not hear myself think, which is dangerous in and of itself. But they, the people that the fans, the military trainees, and even the people that came off from off base too, they were so appreciative of it, and it was such an awesome environment that, you know, to do it once is fantastic, but to do it twice or, you know, multiple times over, we're happy to do it. And I got to respond to the gentleman there so we can get this one going again. I think it's going to be February of 2024. So in addition to other bases around the Midwest. So that's what we're looking forward to doing. And man, that was so awesome.
Yeah, it's terrific. My daughter served at Fort Leonard Wood. It's
awesome.
Really an amazing facility. And when you get ingrained with that military community, the people there are really just so appreciative of having the outreach. I think it benefits both. It benefits the wrestlers dramatically, and it's a great benefit to the military people to have something right there for them.
Absolutely.
Because Fort Leonard Wood's really nice, and just outside of St. Robert, Missouri. It is
Correct,
it is a little bit isolated, so it's
awesome.
You know,
and a lot of people that train there, I guess they they can't leave, and so they're in so many words stuck there.
Yeah.
I'm not saying held at gunpoint, because that's not the case.
No, not a bad place. There's a ton of restaurants.
No,
there's
no,
some
no, no.
entertainment stuff,
It's
but there's the fort, there's St. Robert's, and then everything else is
that's and there's a
little
highway
ways
about
away.
3 miles off, and that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't get the opportunity every day of the week or every week of the year, whatever, to have something like professional wrestling come there. And the last time that pro wrestling was held there was back in 2017 or 18. I was lucky enough to be a part of that as well. And it was awesome then. But this just brought it to a whole nother level. And man, I was so happy with the turnout, not for myself, but for all the guys involved, all the military personnel, everybody, because I knew once we got the ball rolling, it was going to be awesome. It was just getting the ball rolling, because we had actually originally had planned to do that specific event June of 2020. And then, of course, when was it? March 13th. The world, basically the world shut down. I can say Missouri did, but so everything got put on hold. And then, here we are talking about it now. Luckily, we were able to do it, and that was a great thing, and going to be able to continue to do it is an even better thing.
No, that's absolutely terrific. I want to make sure I mention it too. The weekly television show,
Yes.
World League Wrestling Showdown, on in a lot of the country, and it's accessible too, so you can check out WLW weekly on TV.
Correct. Yes, sir. If you, we started airing this iteration of World League Wrestling television programming on September 18th, 20th, 2nd, somewhere. It's September 20th, in that range of 2018. And that was 5 years ago. And we just last week signed a new contract to extend that programming on the Columbia market. We're in St. Louis, St. Joe, Texas, New York City, on like 4 different channels. Boston, there's Indianapolis, there's a lot of them. We haven't got kicked off the air yet, so hey, that's a good thing.
That's a lot. I mean, you're running the school, doing a TV show.
Yes, sir.
Running a promotion, holding a belt. That's a lot. That's a lot of jobs to handle. And you got the dogs. So I mean,
we got the dogs. We got. I have a side hustle. I have doing here graphic design and t-shirt, long and short of it. But t-shirt making. I also have another job that is because wrestling nothing's ever guaranteed. Well, in life, nothing's ever guaranteed, right? So I have another job that gets me a guaranteed paycheck as long as I do my job. So
there you go.
We stay busy here. There's no dull moment, and we have.
We'll go ahead and wind it down here. Got the dealership rescue belt for you, the Wrestling with Sales title. So add a title to the list. Go to the championship round here. I know you've had a couple of chances to get out to Japan.
Yes, sir.
And wrestle, and you guys still are involved with Pro Wrestling Noah. Who would be your dream opponent to face in Japan?
That is a hard one to answer. Did they have to be Japanese?
No, it could be anybody.
And I mean that respectfully.
No.
I don't know. That's a hard one to answer. The last time I was in Japan, it was with New Japan Pro Wrestling, and there was a lot of guys that I had the opportunity to wrestle. So, Tanahashi, Juice Robinson.
Sure.
Man, my memory escapes me. That was 7 years ago now. But, there was one person there that I didn't get to wrestle, and that was Okada from New Japan.
Sure.
Wrestled for Noah, and there's a lot of great talent there. I did several tours for Noah, 4, I think. And so, both promotions have a lot to offer in a great way. And we're lucky to have both still around. But I say that due to the COVID stuff.
Sure.
But it's, I think, Okada or Kenta, one of the two. So
perfectly good answer.
Yeah.
Now,
Yes.
how
Sir.
about this? Somebody that hasn't watched WLW, World League Wrestling, what are they getting when they tune in to watch a WLW show?
You're getting the absolute best and the generation of tomorrow for professional wrestling, because WLW was created to give fans a no nonsense, in your face opportunity to see professional wrestling at its best, because it was created by the 8-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion, the WWE Hall of Famer, Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, Pro Wrestling Hall of Famer, multiple times other Hall of Famers as well, First Missouri Champion, King of the Ring, except the list is almost endless.
Sure.
But Harley Race. And so when you mess, when you think of Harley Race, as you just said before, he brought his A game each and every single time. And so that is what he did with World League Wrestling, and we continue to uphold that expectation, because there's absolutely nothing less than to meet those expectations, and with hopes at some point in time of exceeding them, even though, to try and keep us grounded and humble, we're never going to exceed them. So,
and just finally, to wrap it up, where can fans find out more about WLW, the Harley Race Academy? What's the best way to find out a little bit more about you guys?
Sure, absolutely. HarleyRace.com. Just take the name, put it together, put .com. That's it.
There you go.
That's the official website of the Wrestling Academy, World League Wrestling. Find out information about the old man, etc. Merchandise, all that cool stuff. Social media presence wise, again, Facebook and Instagram, they're integrated, so that's why I say it like that.
Sure.
World League Wrestling on there. So Facebook.com/World League Wrestling, Instagram.com/World League Wrestling. So trying to make it easy. But that's the best opportunity to follow us and to learn more about what we have.
Well, Leland, thanks a lot for stepping into the ring here on Wrestling with Sales, joining us on the Fired Up Network. Thanks to our friends at Montway Auto Transport for helping bring this show to everybody. And until the next time we step into the ring, look forward to seeing you again. Thanks.
Thank you, my friend.